Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to Jinjin's Cosmic. If you didn't happen to be here, perhaps it's time to meet your soul. Welcome to Jinjin's Cosmic, a place where we don't just look up at the stars, but also listen to the voice calling from deep within ourselves. If you're an Aquarius with life path number 8, or you're walking alongside someone who is, then this message is a gift made especially for you. You are a person of vision and also a person of structure. You don't just dream about the future, you want to build the right one with your own hands. But along that journey, maybe you felt exhausted, lonely, or even thought about giving up, simply because no one could truly see the weight you've been carrying. Here at Jinjin's Cosmic, we understand that, and this message was created so that you can see yourself more clearly, feel a little lighter, and rest in a deeper peace. Part 1. Living in alignment. Building systems with a vision for the future. Some souls are not born to simply dream, but to create. Not to stand outside and watch society, but to step inside, see the gaps, and quietly repair them. Aquarius, the sign of reformist thinking and evolutionary vision. When combined with life path number 8, the number of systems, authority, and execution, creates a rare type of person, the silent architect of a new era. They dream with strategy, not fantasy. An Aquarius 8 isn't the type to talk endlessly about their dreams. They don't need colorful vision boards or applause for what they're building in their hearts. All they need is a right reason and a strong enough plan. They can see 5-10 years ahead and immediately start laying the foundation in the present. They don't ask, when will the world change? They ask, where can I start changing it? Right now. When faced with an outdated system, Aquarius 8 doesn't choose to complain. They don't waste time blaming or criticizing. They roll up their sleeves and redesign from the roots. If they see an obsolete education model, they'll create a new one, even if it's just in a small classroom. If a community lacks fairness, they won't argue about it online. They'll start a non-profit to make change happen. They do, instead of just talk. I once had the privilege of working with Nathan, a client living in Canada, an Aquarius with life path 8. Nathan founded an educational organization for immigrant communities, where children learn critical thinking, emotional literacy, and digital citizenship. When I asked him what drove him to do this, he simply replied, "I didn't start this to be famous. I started because I couldn't wait for the old system to change. I needed a place to prove that the right thing can also be sustainable." To me, that sentence perfectly captures the spirit of a true Aquarius 8. Money as a tool, not the goal. Number 8 often relates to material wealth and finance, but Aquarius gives this flow a soul. They don't see money as the destination, but as fuel for the mission. They can run businesses, manage organizations, and lead projects, not to feed their ego, but to build something bigger than themselves. They live by vision, not commands. Unlike authoritarian leaders, Aquarius 8 leads with presence and depth. They don't need to assert dominance. Their inner energy naturally invites respect. They don't force anyone to believe. They simply live so consistently that their steadiness speaks for itself. Whether in a noisy crowd or a turbulent team, they are always the steady axis. Fields where they thrive: strategic management, sustainable organizational operations, evolutionary finance, human-centered economic development, social innovation, reform in education, healthcare, environment. Applied technology, especially AI and blockchain systems with human value, any field where soul and system can walk hand in hand. They seek stability, but not shallow safety. It's the kind of stability that comes from the roots, when every process, action, and model carries the intention to evolve. In relationships, their ideal partner doesn't have to be just like them, but must be strong enough to stand as an equal and respect each other's freedom. Aquarius 8 doesn't open their heart easily, but once they commit, they are deeply reliable. They need someone who isn't intimidated by their calmness and decisiveness, but can walk alongside them as a thoughtful friend, a mature partner. If you are an Aquarius 8, remember this: you don't need to be softer, smaller, or less logical to be loved. You only need to keep a heart that still believes in people, even while building the systems you dream of. Because it's that awakened strength that becomes the foundation for a world that can truly stand the test of time. Part 2 lives in reverse. When vision becomes the burden of power, there's a kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from workload, but from seeing exactly what needs to change, knowing how to make it happen, yet finding no one fast enough, brave enough, or trusting enough to walk beside you. It's the weariness of someone who carries a vision, but is trapped in the isolation of their own mind. For an Aquarius 8 out of alignment, intellect becomes a shackle. Vision turns into a burden. Strength becomes a cold mask. One they feel they must wear, so they won't be judged as weak. When trust in others fades, they stop sharing because they believe no one will truly understand them. They take on everything because they believe no one is skilled enough. Convinced they're the only one who truly sees the problem, they build a tower of power, not only to manage but also to quietly endure. I once worked with Queen, a founder of a tech startup in Vietnam, an Aquarius with life path 8. She told me, "I've always had to be the one in control. No one works as well, as fast, or as deeply as I do. But I'm so tired." Kuena's exhaustion didn't come from deadlines or a cutthroat market. It came from never having anyone who made her feel she could let go without feeling guilty. Patterns of an out of alignment. Aquarius 8. Authoritarian leadership. Only I know what's right, and I don't have time to explain. Control through logic. They don't manipulate with emotions. They use reason so subtly that people don't realize they're being led. Lonely in the crowd. They may lead and be respected, but few ever truly touch the human part inside them. Self-worth tied to achievement. Without doing something great, they feel like they're nothing. In love, paradox often appears. They attract people who are weaker and in need of protection, then feel the relationship lacks depth. They love by protecting, yet make the other feel suffocated, as if being controlled. Afraid to be vulnerable, they keep emotional distance, so no one can see how easily they could be hurt. I once asked another client, also a life path 8, "Have you ever felt loved, even when you're doing nothing at all?" He was silent for a long time. Then, as if exhaling a truth he didn't know he'd been holding, he said, "I never thought I was allowed to." Tarot insight. The Emperor reversed. The Emperor reversed often appears in therapy sessions with out of alignment, Aquarius 8 second. It represents power gone astray. When leadership turns rigid, when strength is used more to control than to protect. The card whispers, "You were born to build, not to control." You can hold up an entire system, but you also deserve to have someone hold you. When an Aquarius 8 lives in reverse, they become a lone ruler in the very kingdom they built. No one told them they had to be this strong. It's just that they forgot. True strength isn't in control. It's in allowing yourself to be real. Part 3 transforms. the architect of systems with a soul. When an Aquarius 8 truly moves beyond the loneliness of holding the axis, beyond the shadow of control, and touches the depth within, realizing that strength isn't in directing others, but in creating something that can stand firm without them, that is the moment they transform. No longer carrying everything alone, no longer needing admiration, no longer needing to prove themselves. They become a living system, where every action, every word, every structure they build carries the spirit of evolution. From thinker, architect of reality, an evolved Aquarius 8 no longer inspires through speeches. Instead, they quietly design structures strong enough to inspire on their own. They no longer place themselves at the center. They become an energetic anchor, so everything can operate around them without the need for a commanding voice. I once met Elia, a sustainable investment fund director in Northern Europe. As an Aquarius 8, he once pursued traditional financial models where success was measured purely by ROI. But when he shifted to a soul fund model, everything changed. I used to think success was about ownership. Now I understand. True success is when the system I've built keeps running, even when I'm no longer there. That is the mark of transformation. When the architect understands, the strongest design is one that continues to function without the designer having to stand there forever. In work, they redefine efficiency by infusing meaning into every process. They build organizations that hold both order and soul. They don't seek to be the leader's name. They aim to be the foundation for a generation to grow upon. In life, they live simply, but every step feels like a walking meditation. They speak little, but each word lands like an anchor of awareness. They no longer need to be heard, because their presence itself is a form of guidance. Tarot insight. The Emperor, upright. The Emperor, in its upright position, represents the creator of the material world, not through control, but through organizational wisdom and steady power. It speaks of the ability to create order in chaos, to hold a system steady without becoming consumed by power. And this is the Aquarius 8 who has transformed. Signs of an evolved Aquarius 8. They see cracks in the old system and step in to rebuild rather than turn away. They are rational enough to lead, yet spiritual enough to guide. They are no longer lonely in their strength. They know how to share it consciously. They don't need to lead. They become the pivot point, allowing others to align themselves without being directed. It's a form of invisible leadership, yet it carries an undeniable gravitational pull. Part 4. The Unconscious Shadows of Aquarius Life, Path 8. When the reformer's ego turns into the shadow of cold authority. Everyone with Life Path 8 is born with a certain kind of inner strength. But for Aquarius, that strength isn't just about material power. It lies in vision, in the will to reform, and in a deep belief that the future can be built better. Yet, because they carry such a big ideal, they are also prone to falling into an unconscious trap. If I'm not strong enough, skilled enough, in control enough, I will have no value. Shadow 1. Identifying self-worth with performance. Aquarius 8 often unconsciously believe, as long as I produce results, I deserve respect, I deserve love. And so, they work without rest, even when their body is crying for help. Shoulder all responsibility, even when others are willing to step in. Refuse to show weakness, even in safe spaces. They become achievement machines, but inside, their heart runs dry of gentle breath. One client, Min, CEO of a chain of tech startups, once shared through tears, "I'm afraid to stop. I'm afraid that if I don't do something great, people won't need me anymore. Even my family would be disappointed. Min didn't need another milestone. He needed someone to hold him. Not because he'd just signed $1 million deal, but simply because he is him. Shadow 2. Coldness as a survival strategy. Aquarius 8-second. Don't easily let others into their real emotional space. Not because they're heartless, but because they fear that if they reveal vulnerability, they'll lose control. They believe emotions make them too exposed, and so they only open up when every risk has been neutralized. Stay collected, even in moments that call for softness. Use analysis, logic, and reason as walls of safety around the heart. I once asked a client, "When was the last time you cried?" She stayed silent for a long time before answering, "I don't remember." Crying is a luxury for someone like me. Shadow 3. Control obsession. Born from past helplessness. Many Aquarius 8-second live with the unconscious memory of once being deeply hurt because they couldn't control something that mattered most. A family crisis, a betrayal, a childhood shock. From then on, they learned, "I must master everything so I never get hurt again." But this obsession with control makes them kill spontaneity in relationships, stifle those they work with, isolate themselves, even while standing in the spotlight. Shadow 4. Not knowing how to be loved without power. A painful question many Aquarius 8-second have yet to face. If one day I had nothing, who would still stay? They're used to being the problem solver. And so, they don't believe in unconditional love. They feel they must prove something before allowing themselves to be loved. They choose solitude because it feels safer than having to keep up the strong facade. I once heard a client say, "I don't know how to be loved without feeling like I'm losing control." How to step out of the shadows. Accept that not controlling is the highest form of maturity. Practice saying, "I'm not okay," without apologizing for it. Be present. Not for efficiency, not for a role, but for yourself. Let others help, and trust that it doesn't make you weak. Final reminder, the shadow of Aquarius 8 doesn't lie in bad behavior. It lies in the cold intelligence that rejects the chance to be loved. You don't have to be strong to be worthy. You only have to be real. Part 5. Strengths to cultivate for Aquarius life path 8. From strategy to spirit, from systems to humanity. Not everyone is born able to see the future and know exactly where to start building it. Not everyone can blend a clear mind with a heart that still holds on to its ideals. But Aquarius life path 8 is one of the rare few who can. When they live in alignment with their energy, they are not just reformers with a vision. They have the unique ability to turn that vision into systems. Systems that work, endure, and create real value for the world. 1. System thinking with reformist intuition. An Aquarius 8 doesn't just analyze a system like an engineer. They feel the pulse of the future like a visionary. They can hear what's drifting off course, what's calling for change, and rebuild from the roots without destroying what still works well. For example, a client named Dai, founder of a teacher training organization, once redesigned the entire teaching system so children could learn how to live happily before they learned how to pass exams. He said, "If we only teach children to chase achievements without teaching them how to be human, our education system is no different from a factory assembly line." That's the vision of an Aquarius 8, not just reform, but reform with depth. 2. Silent leadership. They don't need to shout or impose. But when they enter a room, people notice. They lead through inner steadiness by living in full alignment with their beliefs, not through titles or positions. One example is Lynn, operations director of an NGO, who her team calls the Axis Keeper. She never steps in unless it's needed, but the moment she's in a meeting, everyone feels at ease. This is leadership without theatrics, but with powerful, energetic influence. 3. Creating material value with soul. Unlike some 8-second who get caught in materialism, Aquarius 8 can see beyond tools like money to the energy beneath. They use resources to serve the mission, not to inflate the ego. Many in this group can turn abstract, hard-to-grasp ideas into tangible products, real systems, things that genuinely help people. This could be a mental wellness app, a social enterprise model, or a community-focused tech platform. 4. Patience, strategy, long game. They're not seduced by short-term glory. They think long-term, with a global strategy in mind. They stay true to the path they choose, even when no one understands or supports them yet. A client named Chang once told me, "I'm not afraid to walk alone. As long as the path is right, others will come later." They don't need to be better than anyone. They just need tomorrow to be better than today. 5. Bridging the mind and the heart. It's rare to be both deeply rational and to keep the heart intact. But Aquarius 8 can do it. They listen, make decisions with depth, and avoid letting personal emotions throw the group off course. Growth suggestions. Allow others to contribute. Instead of holding everything alone, lead through presence, without needing to appear the most capable. Remember, stability comes from integration, not control. Aquarius 8-second are not born to simply do big things. They are born to do the right things. Right for the soul, right for the times, right for the depth within, and the height of the vision they carry. Part 6. Lessons and healing messages. When the greatest system you need to build is your own heart. Aquarius life path 8-second are often praised as strong, clear in direction, capable of great things. But behind the glow of their abilities is a heart that can easily lose itself in the relentless rhythm of ideals. They can run a corporation, transform a community, yet not know how to simply breathe deeply in the quiet of their own room. That's why the true journey of growth for an Aquarius 8 is not about becoming better, but about returning more fully to their own heart. 1. The biggest lesson. Strength is not in control, but in presence. You don't need to hold everything in your hands to prove your worth. You don't need to control everything to feel safe. What you need is to learn how to stay with yourself, even when the world outside is shifting. Don't just build systems out there. Learn to build an inner homeland you can return to, whether in success or in failure. A client once said through tears, "I can build an entire city, but when I'm tired, I don't know where to rest, because inside me, there's no place I can call home." 2. The lesson of worth. You are not your achievements. You may accomplish a lot, but you are not your results. You are not your titles, your awards, your KPIs. You are a soul, learning how to live, how to love, how to breathe in a world full of expectations. You don't have to do anything to deserve love. One life path 8 client once fell silent when asked, "Who would stay if one day you had nothing left to give?" 3. The emotional lesson. Vulnerability is a strength. Aquarius 8-second are so strong that sometimes they don't even know what it feels like to be vulnerable. But here's the truth. The right kind of vulnerability, in the right place, with the right person, is a high form of healing. You don't have to keep holding yourself up to be respected. You only need to be real, and that is enough. Vulnerability doesn't make you smaller. It makes you more human. 4. The direction lesson. You don't need to be first, only to be aligned. Number 8 is the number of the peak. Aquarius is the sign of vision. Together, they can pull you into an unnamed race, where reaching the finish line matters more than remembering why you started. Remember, no one was born to run forever. Your path is meant to enlighten, not to dominate. Final message from Jin's Cosmic. You don't have to be someone who never makes mistakes. You only need to be someone willing to realign when you drift away from your soul. You don't have to carry the whole world. You only need to be honest about what the world truly needs from you. And if you've ever asked yourself, can anyone love me without feeling I'm too strong, too distant? Know this. Yes, but only if you allow them to see you, not just the role you wear. Aquarius Life Path 8 are born to guide through systems, but to live authentically through the heart. And that heart also needs to rest, to be loved, and to be returned to by you. The end. Come back to the most important system, yourself. You may lead an organization. You may redesign an entire industry. You may guide a new generation. But remember, the greatest system you need to build is not out there. It's within you. You don't have to be endlessly strong. You don't have to be right forever. You only need to come home to yourself. The place that will always be home for you, no matter how the world changes. Here at Jin's Cosmic, you'll always be reminded. The universe is in no hurry, and neither are you.